And welcome to the Oregon Wine Board Wine Pricing Calculator. As with all of the workbooks in this program, make sure that number one, that you have this button, Edit, is visible. If it is in the save mode, you're not able to input information and save it. So if you're having problems inputting things, look up here and make sure you've got this Edit button displayed. Put in the name and, I'm sorry, it should say save. Go ahead and put in your wine name and vintage for the project, your name and the date. Then enter in a selling price or transfer price. This is the FOB pricing of the winery, either that you would sell to a distributor or to an importer in another country, or this would be the price that you use to transfer product from production into your tasting room or wine club. That's a best practice we will say over and over again that you should consider. Okay, once you've got that in here, you can actually look. We've got at the very end of this, we've got a factoring, so it'll run you an estimated retail bottle price. Now put in your target price here, and then if you look at this field in the blue here along direct consumer pricing, notice when I increase my FOB using the stepper, you can see what it does to the per case cost that you would sell the wine for ex cellars, but it's also going to run you an estimate of what that's doing to a retail price for your product, okay? Now we're also doing a formulation for restaurant and then also the distributor selling price, and we'll get to that at the end of the program. The first part of this is we will transfer whatever you put in here as your FOB, so we'll just have that at $180, and then this would be the transfer cost per bottle. And so you can add different factors for your tasting room markup and margin, and you can see what that's going to do to your average selling price in your tasting room or your wine club. It'll also give you your margin by percent, and then the margin per bottle in dollars, okay? So you've got that for the tasting room. If it's different for the wine club, you can also then do that. Very typically, the markups for the wine club and the tasting room in general are the same or at least similar. The second tab is going to get us into the U.S. Distribution Workbook. And so when we click on that, basically, if you pay any state, regional, or national broker's fee, typically if I'm doing a national workup, I'll add 2%. Just to cover states that require that you have a broker. Otherwise, you can leave that zeroed out. But if you're doing work for a specific state where you have or are required to do a broker, you would put the amount in, and that's often up to 15% or so. What's your cost of consolidation, freight, and insurance? Put in that dollar here. We've got it preset at $12. Are there any additional costs, taxes, or duties that are paid by the wholesaler distributor? What are their percentage average local taxes? And are there any flat rates? If you need a listing for certain states, so you can go to this link, it'll open in a new tab, and you can see what the different requirements are on a state-by-state basis. The next and very important field is how much is your distributor in a given state going to mark up the wine, or in general across the country. We've plugged in a benchmark 1.5 markup. This gives the distributor a 33% margin. In this project, with our $180 case product, is giving a $96 margin, and then that gives a distributor to licensee. So this is the price that the distributor sells a licensed retail or restaurant their product. And then this is the bottle price, okay? So next tab then is for export, typically a higher consolidation, freight, and insurance. Additional duties, taxes, you will almost always need an importer or at least a broker in the market. And again, you may have percent taxes and or duties and a flat rate. And then any importer or broker fees on landed cost of goods, and those typically range from 10 to 25%. And then the markup that the distributor in that country, which may be the importer, what they do. So this will give you your workup for export distribution. And then finally, to get a handle on what kind of accounts are you selling to chain stores or club stores. Club stores very typically may have as low as a 15% markup. Specialty stores might mark their products up as much as 50%. So the first thing is to plug in any average discounts that a distributor or importer would offer in a market. Very typically 5 to 10%. In some states, it's quite wide as a range. And then what's the retailer? Now these are important numbers. So if you're selling to a club store or large national chain, they may have a low percentage, and you can see the percentage going down here as we click on this stepper. So notice as I click this stepper, it's showing you what this variation is, okay? And so this can be anywhere, as we say, from 15% markup to 50% and similar in export markets. And then, of course, restaurants typically mark their products up 2 to 4 times their cost of goods, and this is a stepper that you would use for that, okay? And that will then give you an idea of what your wine is going to sell for in stores and restaurants, and you can use this as you're looking at different strategies and plans for different products. And then you can save these products like all the other ones. Just hit save. Make sure that you save the URL for the project after you've named it and so forth, and that'll be similar to any of the other workbooks. Enjoy, and don't forget that we'll be offering workshops both live and down the road online for learning more about each of these valuable tools.